everyone, welcome to another weekly outlook video. As usual, we are going to start with DXY. For those people who are new, DXY is the dollar index. If you trade major pairs, it's key and very important that you look at DXY. So DXY, we have pairs that are positively correlated with DXY and pairs that are negatively correlated. So pairs that are positively correlated with DXY, they move together with DXY. If DXY is bullish, you want to see it also bullish. Example is USDJPY, USDCHF. Pairs that are negatively correlated with DXY, which means they move the opposite as DXY. So these are major pairs that have USD as the quote currency or the second currency in the pair. So example is EURUSD, GBPUSD, AUDUSD, and ZDUSD. So last week, of course, we had a midweek reversal profile. This is where we opened the week and we had a rally on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We tagged our draw of liquidity, which was this previous month high and this 3-month fair value gap. So we did that on Wednesday. Then we had a reversal on Thursday and Friday. So let's have a look at what we're going to have this week. So as usual, we're going to start with the weekly time frame. So if you see on the weekly time frame, this is what we had last week. We left behind a weekly fair value gap and the order block is still here. So I'm looking at a retracement to this weekly fair value gap before we continue with this bullish move. I'm still bullish on the dollar unless, of course, we violate this and our price is ready for bearish move. But as of now, I'm still looking at more bullish moves. I believe we still have more targets that this DXY could go for. So this is what I'm watching. Of course, we also have this order block. There's also a possibility we can have a deep retracement to this order block, but the main area here is this weekly fair value gap. This is what I have my eyes on. I want to see price respect this and use it to push price higher. So let's look at the daily time frame. So if we take a fib and measure from this low to this high, you can see actually we've already had a retracement to 50% of this range. And fair value gap is just right here, which is good. And on the daily time frame, we also have a tiny fair value gap here, which is where price is currently. But it would really be nice if we get more bearish retracement. Just tag this weekly fair value gap before we continue with the bullish move. So let's look at USDCHF. So USDCHF and DXY are positively correlated. So I want you, if you look at USDCHF last week, actually price did not tag our draw of liquidity, or it did not tag our 3-month fair value gap, which is right here and this high here. Yet we had a midweek reversal profile, and that is because DXY, we tagged our draw of liquidity, and DXY is the reason as to why, which is the dollar, is the reason as to why we had that midweek reversal profile. And that is why it's important, if you trade major pairs, to always look at DXY. DXY acts as our leading indicator for all major pairs. So again, the same thing, we opened the week last week. We had a rally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is what we had, swept some liquidity. Then we got a reversal on Thursday, Friday. So those are still midweek reversal profile. So let's look at this week. So we're going to start with the weekly time frame. And as you can see, weekly time frame, we have this fair value gap. And we also have this order block here. So I want to see price use this fair value gap to push price higher. So let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, USDCHF, we have a daily fair value gap here. So price can still use this daily fair value gap to just push price higher, and we fail to get a retracement to this fair value gap. But I really want to see price get to this weekly fair value gap. If you look at DXY also currently, you can see price is inside that tiny daily fair value gap. So if DXY price uses that daily tiny fair value gap to push price higher, then the same thing is likely to happen for USDCHF. If we get a fib tool and measure from this high to this low, you can see 50% of this range is right on this weekly fair value gap. I really want to see price get here. It would be really nice. So let's look at GBPUSD. So GBPUSD last week, again, we opened the week and we rallied lower Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is what we got. And then we got a retracement or a reversal on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So GBPUSD, we also had a reversal week, and price already tagged our draw of liquidity, which is the 3-month fair value gap. So let's see what you're likely to have this coming week. So let's look at the weekly time frame. If you look at the weekly time frame, we have this fair value gap here. As long as DXY is printing bullish, I want to see GBPUSD give us bearish moves, even though GBPUSD already we have tagged our draw of liquidity. So as long as you're bullish on DXY, then I'm expecting bearish moves on GBPUSD, and this is what I want to see. It would be nice if price used this weekly fair value gap to push price lower. So let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we have this fair value gap, which is inside the weekly fair value gap. So I'm watching this and I want to see price use this. We get a retracement to this before we get our bearish continuation move. So let's look at EURUSD. So EURUSD last week, again, we opened the week and we rallied lower Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday formed the low of the week, and then we got a bullish expansion on Thursday and Friday. So we also got a midweek reversal profile for EURUSD. So let's see what we're likely to get this coming week. So if you look at the weekly time frame, we have this order block here. So this is the only key level that we have here. So I'm watching this. We can still get a retracement all the way to this weekly order block before we continue with the bearish move. So let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, this is our daily order block. This is the weekly order block. So again, we want to see price use one of these order block to push price lower, or we might get retracement all the way to this weekly. But remember, this daily order block starts from here to here. So all this is still a daily order block, and which is still in line with the weekly order block. So that is the key level I'm watching for this EURUSD. And then, of course, if you look at EURUSD, we have not yet tagged our draw of liquidity. The 3-month fair value gap is right here. So we have not tagged it. That is good. We still have more range to trade if price is willing to go for our draw of liquidity. So let's look at yen basket. For those people who are new, yen basket is just the yen. The same way we use DXY for USD pairs, that's the same way we use yen basket for yen cross pairs. But when it comes to USD JPY is a major pair. So USD JPY has a stronger correlation with DXY compared to the yen basket. So if you look at the weekly time frame, so far this is what we have. This is what happened last week. And as you can see, this is our weekly order block here, and where price says it's so close. So I won't be shocked if we get more retracement and tag this weekly order block before we continue with the bearish move. So if you look at the daily time frame, you can see we have this fair value gap here, and price has not violated this fair value gap. We had more of a consolidation within this fair value gap. You can see we tagged it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and still we did not violate it. So there's a high probability that price might use this to push price lower, because remember, the yen, we're expecting still more bearish moves for yen, or we can still get a retracement to tag this weekly order block before we get the bearish move. But high probability, I'm watching this fair value gap. I want to see price use this to push price lower. So let's look at GBPJPY. So GBPJPY and yen basket are negatively correlated. So if you're expecting bearish moves for yen basket, then you want to see bullish moves for GBPJPY, because remember, yen basket is our leading indicator for yen cross currency pairs. So if you see this new week opening gap, of course we've tagged it several, and this is what we have. So let's look at the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, this is what we have so far. I want price to invert this fair value gap. Then we use this inversion fair value gap to push price higher. Or we might even have a retracement to this order block. This here still forms an order block, but for me, high probability, I want us to invert this. So let's look at gold, and for gold, I want us to start with the monthly time frame. So far, if you look at gold, we have been rallying up, up, up. It's just been a bullish year for gold. And so far, this is last month, and this is this month, November. So far, we have a fair value gap left here. So these are monthly fair value gap. If you're going to have a bearish move, this should be our draw of liquidity. So let's look at the weekly time frame. On the weekly, you can see we have this weekly fair value gap, which price tagged, and we're still here. We also have a volume imbalance here. This right here, I'm also watching. So if you're going to get a bearish move to this monthly fair value gap, then we're likely to get a retracement to this, then we get that, or price can violate this and we continue with the bullish move, because as you can see, gold has been rallying higher. So I still won't be shocked or surprised if we still get more bullish moves for gold. So if you look at the daily time frame, of course you can see we have this fair value gap and this is the weekly volume imbalance. But as you can see also on the daily we have that, and this is more of like a new week opening gap, because you can see this was Friday and then this is Monday, so we had that gap there. And I'm watching that, so we're likely to violate this fair value gap, violate this, and then I'll be looking for bullish moves, or price can use this or this to push price lower. So that is what I'm watching this week gold. So let's look at NAS 100 again. If you look at NAS 100, we're at all-time highs and we have been rallying higher. So this was a new week opening gap. As you can see, price violated it and we have tagged a weekly order block. So let's look at the daily time frame. So far we have, of course, this is the gap that you're talking about. Then this here is an order block we have here. So it's either we use this to push price lower or we violate this and we get more bullish price. Because again, we are at all-time highs, price has been rallying higher and higher. So I will not be shocked if price is still willing to continue going higher. So that is all I'd prepared for this weekly outlook video. If you enjoyed this video, kindly don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next one.